From the Warriors' new general manager giving up a lot just to get him on the team, to Paul not being the kind of player that can break down an opponent's defense. This is why Golden State are making a terrible mistake with the Chris Paul trade. Starting with how the Golden State Warriors wasted no time shaking things up in the offseason. You see, during the recent draft, they pulled off a trade to bring in Chris Paul, a 12-time All-Star, and in return, they sent Jordan Poole, future draft picks, and Ryan Rollins to Washington. In other words, they gave up their top 20 protected 2030 first-round pick and their 2027 second-rounder as part of the deal. This trade was the first major move made by the new general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr., and his goal with this trade is clear. He wants to maintain team chemistry and maximize Curry's championship window. So by getting Paul, they boosted not only their roster, but also unloaded future salary commitments they weren't too thrilled about. Adding him to the mix means bringing in a player the Warriors have been competing against, that too for over a decade. But the real drawback of this deal is the finances, because the trade slightly increased the Warriors' salary commitments for the upcoming 2023-2024 season. After all, Paul's salary of $30.8 million surpasses Poole's $28 million. Not only that, but the Warriors sent Poole and future draft compensation to the Washington Wizards to acquire this 12-time All-Star. But by parting ways with Poole, who's owed $123 million over the next 4 seasons, the Warriors freed themselves from a huge financial commitment. Their payroll for the 2023-2024 season is already skyrocketing towards $500 million, including luxury tax penalties to maintain a competitive team. But does this trade make sense in terms of on-court performance? Well, when it comes to the Warriors, this move could work wonders and boost their chances of bringing home another title. Granted, Paul offers a different set of skills that can make the team more efficient and in control. But the thing is, he doesn't care about racking up scoring opportunities for himself. He's perfectly fine finishing a game with just a handful of shot attempts, as long as he's creating opportunities for his teammates, especially the sharpshooters on the perimeter. And that's the biggest reason why the Golden State made this move. You see, he'd fit into their lineup, and he knows it too. He's confident in his ability to adapt, thanks to his experience playing with different teams, and believes that when you have great players around you, the chemistry just falls into place. As for the impact he'd have on the team's second unit, when Stephen Curry takes a breather, the team usually struggles. They had a pretty disappointing net rating of -17.7 when he sat on the bench during the 2023 playoffs, and the Warriors think this is where his experience and leadership would shine. After all, he's more than capable of bringing stability and composure to the team, while also creating opportunities for players like Andrew Wiggins to attack in open space. His mid-range game isn't too bad either, cause his ability to score from that area would add a new dimension to the Warriors' offense. But we can't ignore the potential downsides of this trade. One of the biggest concerns is availability. Jordan Poole has proven to be quite reliable, playing all 82 games last season, and missing only a handful of games since October 2021. On the other hand, Chris Paul has had his fair share of regular season injuries. He also has problems when his team is making a deep playoff run. He had to sit out several games in the Suns-Nuggets series due to a groin strain. While his postseason injuries have been relatively minor, any absence during the playoffs can be extremely important to a team's rotation and their championship aspirations. Considering the unpredictable nature of injuries, we can assume that his availability with the team would be similar to his time in Phoenix, which is around 82.2% of regular season games played out of a possible 236 games. But the Golden State Warriors do have an ace up their sleeve. The medical staff led by Dr. Rick Celebrini would probably do their best to manage Paul's workload, implementing scheduled rest days to minimize wear and tear on his body. And when it comes to adjustments, the player would need to make some on the court. There might be a bit of a culture shock for him, but it's not all bad, considering he has good basketball IQ and effective scoring skills for when defenses focus on Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. Just last season, he was successful with catch-and-shoot opportunities, nailing an impressive 52.3% of his 88 attempts. So this trade does have the potential to benefit the Warriors on the court, but not in exchange for what they're giving up. Not only that, there are potential risks with Paul's availability, and when he joins the Bay Area, he'll experience a different style of play too. Unlike most teams, the Warriors' offense revolves around read and react principles, rather than relying on traditional set plays. What this does is keep their guards on the move constantly, ensuring that the ball never sticks and players are never stationary, except in crucial moments of do-or-die playoff games. They led the league in half-court possessions with at least 4 passes last season, averaging an impressive 22.4 per game. Paul might have a hard time adapting to this fast-paced, dynamic style, but he'll appreciate that his teammates are always on the move around him, making it harder for weak-side defenders to disrupt his pick-and-roll attacks. But there will be moments when he plays a different role. Instead of being a spot-up shooter waiting for the ball, he'll be encouraged to be more active off the ball. This means moving without the ball, making cuts, and setting screens for his teammates. It'll be different from his time in Houston, where he usually found himself in a stationary position when he wasn't the primary ball handler. As he enters the Warriors training camp at the Chase Center, he'll need to make some minor adjustments. It may feel like the first day of transferring to a new school, even for a seasoned veteran like him. But he probably understands the reality of his situation, and that he has to embrace change to win a championship. After all, being stubborn at this stage of his career won't get him anywhere. But with his extensive experience and playing nearly 1,400 career games, he's seen the evolution of the NBA firsthand, and is confident in his ability to mold his game to fit any coach's system. While the Bay Area may bring a different basketball experience, he's ready to embrace the challenge, making the necessary adjustments to contribute to the team's success. Besides, Steve Kerr, the Warriors coach, is excited to have him on the team, because he has a sense of organization and stability, especially when Curry is off the court. Many fans have been asking for more pick-and-roll plays involving Curry, and now they'll get to see Paul running those actions. But the one area where he'll help the Warriors is in reducing turnovers. Last season, the team struggled with turnovers, but having him on the team should improve their ball security. If turnovers continue to be an issue, it'd probably mean that the trade probably wasn't the smartest move. For all we know, he may not provide the same scoring output as Poole, but there's a chance that his overall impact on the team will be far greater. Sure, he mightn't be the youngest, and he does have trouble on defense, but his experience and understanding of defensive rotations could benefit the Warriors. There are serious concerns regarding his poor defense, especially if the Warriors fail to acquire a who that can provide vertical spacing. I mean, it'd complicate Paul's fit to some extent, but players like Kevin Looney and Draymond Green can be effective in the short roll and create opportunities for open shooters when the defense collapses. With Poole's departure, Andrew Wiggins will need to step up his attacking game, and considering the limited options to fill out the rotation, he'll have to assume some of the responsibilities that Poole had, focusing more on driving to the rim rather than relying on catch-and-shoot opportunities. Paul won't be the main playmaker breaking down the defense, but Wiggins can contribute by providing rim pressure. Although the Warriors have unanswered questions heading into free agency, they remain confident that this version of the team will give them an advantage in the playoffs. At the end of the day, having two of the greatest point guards in NBA history on their side could be good for the team. But only time will tell how Paul fits into the team or helps them perform any better than they did with Poole. So, from Paul not being the kind of playmaker that can break down the opponent's defense, to the Warriors' new general manager giving up a lot just to get him on the team, this was why Golden State are making a terrible mistake with the Chris Paul trade.